Hey guys, there's Blake here.
Hi, I'm Angelina.
Angelina used to be a travel nursing recruiter. So this episode is going to be all about travel nursing. So if you have any questions about travel nursing, make sure you ask them so we could ask Angelina. And if you've been a travel nurse, maybe you could drop some advice in the comments for other people who are interested in the field. I think it would be so cool to travel as a travel nurse, but I've never done it before.
It is cool.
I bet it's really cool.
Sweet gig, especially if you like to travel and you don't like to be tied down all the time. It's awesome.
How long have you been a nursing recruiter?
I'm not a recruiter anymore, but I was a recruiter for 7 years. I was also a travel nurse recruitment manager, and I worked for 4 different agencies.
Okay. So you've chatted with a lot of nurses?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so probably thousands.
That's crazy. And can you tell people, because some people may not know, what is a travel nurse?
So a travel nurse is a nurse who goes and works at a hospital because the hospital is experiencing a staffing shortage or maybe a staffing crisis. And they need to bring in experienced nurses who can hit the ground running, who don't need a lot of training to work while they're experiencing the staffing shortage. So travel nursing assignments can usually run between 13 weeks. So it's about 3 months. And then you can choose to stay after your assignment is done. Or sometimes if you really like where you're at, you can stay and extend. Or if you're ready to go, you can go on and work somewhere else, go to another location, a state. It's really up to you.
That's really cool. I want to be a travel nurse. I wish I did it. I know travel nurses have the best Instagram accounts. Like my Instagram account it's pretty fun because I do a lot of videos on my Instagram account. But if I didn't do that, my Instagram would be boring because it would just be me eating ice cream. Like I'd always be at home. It's so boring. But all my travel nursing friends, they have the best pictures and they love their life. I just think it's so cool.
What I love about travel nurses is that they're always down to do fun things. So when we host events for nurse.org, there's travel nurses there because they don't know anyone and they want to meet people. So they're fun to hang out with.
I guess it's an interesting life because you do have to pick up and leave your friends and family.
Yeah.
And you are kind of on your own. So that would be like a con to travel nursing, I guess.
That's a con, yeah. Sometimes I would have nurses who would be alone at Thanksgiving and they would kind of hint that they wanted me to invite them to Thanksgiving dinner and things like that. So it can get lonely, and I've noticed that a lot. But it's kind of you have to get out of your comfort zone and go to a movie alone, go to dinner alone, take risks. It changes you. It helps you to grow when you travel alone.
I love that. We're getting questions, so submit your questions and we will answer them here. We have a question. How much experience would you say is required before becoming a travel nurse?
So typically you need 1 to 2 years experience. So if you are a med-surg specialty or psych, non-specialty nurses, they can usually start traveling with only 1 year bedside experience. If you have a specialty, so if you're ICU, ER, any specialized nurses, you'll need at least 2 years. But that's the bare minimum. Now keep in mind that travel nurses get very little orientation.
They get 2 days, you guys. Yeah. I've oriented with travel nurses and they only get 2 days. So sometimes they just show you around the unit and they're like, all right, get to work. You could get 0 orientation. So they want people who are experienced, who hit the ground running, who know how to find the answers to their questions without having to ask people. So if you're alone on a unit and you need to find out an answer, the resources, how to find the answer. So I tell people start travel nursing when you feel experienced and confident in your skills and abilities. But don't be afraid. Everyone has a fear when they first start travel nursing. They might, want to start, but something's holding them back. If you feel like you're a strong, confident nurse, I say totally go for it and, jump off the cliff and you'll build your wings on the way down. That's cool. I like that. Now, so if you need 2 years of experience, it's whatever unit you're working on, that's how placement. You can't just be a med-surg nurse for 2 years and then travel as an ICU nurse, or vice versa. You can't be an ICU nurse and then you travel as a med-surg nurse. You need that exact experience, right?
You do, yeah. So if you collectively, it's it's kind of confusing. But if you were an ER nurse for 5 years and then you switched to ICU for the last 2 years, you might be able to swing it because you have so much experience in ER. But generally speaking, yeah, you need 2 years experience in that specialty. You can't just go in the L&D if you have no or very little experience in the L&D.
Question from Martha. What's up, Martha? And hello, everybody. I'm Nurse Blake. This is Angelina. She used to be a travel nursing recruiter for many years, and a good one at that. You do still have some of your famous YouTube videos out there that people can check out if they're interested.
I was a recruiter for 7 years, and then I left the industry because it's confusing. There are some unethical practices that go on, and I wanted to educate nurses. So I started a YouTube channel and an Instagram account educating nurses on travel nursing. And that led me, like, surprisingly into more of a kind of content marketing, like marketing standpoint. Yeah. So now I work for nurse.org as the content marketing director.
I love your transition.
It's pretty interesting, but
you're still super passionate about travel nurses.
I'm passionate about travel nurses. I'm still super knowledgeable about it. And I still have my YouTube channel. It's Travel Nursing Insider. If you guys want to go check out those videos, really informative.
We are getting let me just give a shout out to my grandmother, Grandma Kathy. Hey, how's it going? She's back in Florida. Yeah.
Hi.
Love you too. Martha, she has a question. Must a travel nurse be BSN, or can you travel with ADN?
No, yeah, you can totally travel with an ADN. Some hospitals, though, like the magnet facilities, they do require you to have a BSN, but generally you can travel with an ADN.
Don't they even take nurses who have LPNs?
Yeah, LPNs can travel. CNAs can travel. There's not going to be.
I think even I've heard travel techs. That's so cool. That's awesome.
Radiologists. There's just so many opportunities. Obviously, the most opportunities are going to be for traveling RNs, but that doesn't mean that travel opportunities don't exist for other healthcare professionals. Yeah.
Cool. Love it. Another question, Lisa. Which specialty has the most demand for travel nursing?
Honestly, all specialties are in demand in travel nursing. The most demand, I think, ICU, ER, med surg are always in demand. L&D also certain times of the year. So travel nursing can be pretty seasonal. So like during the baby boom months, which is kind of like in the winter time, L&D, you'll see a spike in L&D.
Okay.
It's really
that's so interesting.
Yeah. And in certain parts of the country, you'll see a need for more travel nurses, like in the north in the winter months, because no one wants to travel to the north in the winter time. So they need more travel nurses there during that time. The highest paying specialties for travel nurses is usually cath lab and OR.
Oh, yes. In my last orientation, there were tons of OR travelers.
Yeah. OR. If you're an OR nurse and you want to get into traveling, you will not have a problem finding a job.
That's good to
and
know.
A well-paying job.
Awesome. And by the way, shout out to OR nurses. We were just at the OR Nurse Conference in New Orleans, which was so much fun. It was awesome. You guys know how to throw a conference. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And speaking of conferences, we are actually going to be in Los Angeles, California this Saturday, April 14th at the Nurse Link conference. So if you're in LA, you can check out the Nurse Link and get tickets and hang out with us. You're going to be giving away some $50 Amazon gift cards.
Yeah, so I'll be there representing nurse.org. We'll be giving away Amazon gift cards. We have an interview prep kit that's super informative and helps prepare you for interviews and like really prepare you. We'll be giving that away for free as well. And I actually went to the Nurse League conference in Miami in August.
So fun.
And I love it because everyone there is they're really wanting to get to know each other. Everyone's very friendly, very talkative, lots of vendors there. And the speakers, at least when I went, they were amazing and so empowering. Like I left there feeling empowered, and I'm not even, working in the nursing profession.
Yeah.
And it's actually a pretty affordable conference.
Yeah, it's $25.
Yeah, compared to
it's like
other
the cheapest nursing
conferences.
conference. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so I'll be there too. I'll be speaking. I got to figure out what I'm going to talk about at the conference. I think I have some ideas. I have some ideas, okay? What's up, guys? We're going to get back to chatting about travel nursing. Let's get back to it. Some shout outs. Hey, Jane. She said, you love my videos. Thank you so much for watching them. I have a music video dropping this week with Nurse Becky. I'm so excited about it. but you guys will see that at the end of the week. Hey, Deborah. Okay, we did get a question. Again, what kind of experience do you have to have before you start traveling? Med-surg, ICU, etc. It is whatever unit you're working on currently or going to work in after nursing school. Like if it's med-surg, then you'll travel as a med-surg nurse. If it's ICU, you'll travel as an ICU nurse. And you recommend 1 to 2 years.
1 to 2 years, yeah. 1 year for non-specialty, so med-surg can usually get away with starting traveling after 1 year. Specialized nurses, you'll need 2 years.
Cool.
At least.
Yeah. Who chooses your location?
You choose your location. So you would contact a recruiter and tell them you want to travel to Texas, and they'll start talking to you about what kind of assignments they have available in Texas. The requirements though is that you need to have at least 1 to 2 years experience depending on your specialty. You need to have a license in the state that you want to travel to, and licensure times do vary. So for example, if you want to travel to California, that license can take up to 6 months to get.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow.
California is a big one. So you'll want to start, I advise people choose your top 3 locations that you want to travel to in the next year and a half, and just apply for those licenses, get it out of the way. So okay, I want to go to California, Hawaii, and Texas.
Okay. All the hot, sunny places.
Because I want to be in a hot, sunny place. I'm vicariously living through everyone else.
I love it.
But apply for those licenses, get them out of the way. So then when you're ready to hop over to Hawaii, you don't have to go through all that work.
Angela said, how many miles from home is considered traveling? That's a great question. And listen, if you're in the neuro ICU and you float to the medical ICU, you're not a travel nurse.
No.
You're just a float nurse.
Why is this a real thing?
I've thought about it before. It's just like a joke. It's like a joke.
Okay,
it's like a joke. It's
I'm like, joke. I didn't know that was
that's not a travel nurse. But this is a great question because I've actually had this question too.
Okay, so to address this question, and this is a big misconception in the travel nursing industry, so we're talking about IRS tax purposes. The reason you're a traveling nurse, one of the main draws of travel nursing is that you get tax-free money, and you get that to cover cost of housing, food, and other incidentals while you're away at work. So the IRS looks at it as if you're duplicating expenses. So they don't care if you work a certain amount of miles from the hospital. There's this myth called the 50-mile myth that says if you work 50 miles away from the hospital, then you're considered a traveling nurse. It is a myth. It is not true. So you can't just say, I live in Seattle, I'm going to go work down in Vancouver, Washington, 50 miles away. I'm a traveling nurse. I get tax-free money. It doesn't work that way. You have to have a home in your tax residency area. So in Seattle, you also have to be renting a place, motel, something like that in Vancouver, Washington. So you're duplicating expenses. You're paying for 2 housing accommodations. You're paying for food in 2 places. You're not going home after your shift every night.
Okay.
So does that make sense?
Yeah. So Seattle and Bellevue are 2 cities that are right next to each other.
Yeah.
If I lived in Seattle, but I wanted to make some more money and I got a travel assignment through an agency in Bellevue. Yeah. Yes or no? I can do that.
It's travel assignment, but you're not getting tax-free money. You would get just a base hourly rate. It will be higher probably than your typical hourly rate as a staff nurse, because they'll pay more money for traveling nurses since you're so well experienced. But no, you're not going to be eligible for tax-free money. But you can, do a contract assignment anywhere you choose. You just don't get the tax-free money.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Thank you. Let's talk about all these perks and benefits. Do travel nurses get free housing?
Free.
Do you get this a lot?
Free, yeah. So the term free kind of bothers me. It's not true because nothing's free. What they do get is a housing stipend. So this is the example I usually use. When you travel for work, like if you're working in an office or whatever, and your company sends you to a conference in Boston and you have a hotel there, well, you save all your receipts and you come back and you give it to your company, and your company reimburses you for that. Well, travel nurses are essentially doing the same exact thing, but the IRS has made it so that if you travel for work for a longer amount of time, you don't have to collect all your receipts and save all this stuff. They just give you a stipend beforehand. And those are based off of GSA rates, if you want to go online and check out what those look like in your area, per diem rates and things like that. So they give you a stipend. So you get an hourly rate, and then on top of that, you get a stipend. So for example, you could be paid $50 an hour, your hourly rate. On top of that, you could receive $2,000 a month for your housing and living expenses. So you will have your $50 an hour, plus every month you get, or it could be on every paycheck, depending on how your agency breaks it down. But you'll get an extra $2,000 non-taxed money on top of that.
Girl, you're so smart with all this financial stuff. I don't even know.
Does that make sense though?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you get $50 an hour for 40 hours a week or whatever you work. Then you get $2,000 non-taxed money on top of that to cover your housing. So what a lot of travel nurses do is they will get an affordable room, maybe rent a room in someone's house, or have, a cheap hotel room, something like that. And so they're not using that whole $2,000 just for their housing. They're pocketing it. So maybe they're spending $300. Then the rest of that non-tax money, they get to keep all that money
to themselves. That's what I would do. Save that money.
Me too, right?
Go shopping.
I know people who are like, I'll rent a studio, a small studio.
I'm going shopping.
Yeah, and they literally have an air mattress, like some bins for their clothes, and they just keep the whole stipend.
That's so
cool.
Make I love that. Money. They bank that stipend.
Yeah.
We're getting a cool question from Marwin. Is it limited only for the USA, or can you travel to other places like Europe and Asia?
Yeah, you can. So one thing that I love about the nursing profession is that once you have that nursing license, it gives you like a free ticket to work anywhere in the world.
That's cool.
That is awesome. I know nurses who, someone who's been in Australia now for like a year working as a nurse. I know nurses who've worked in the Philippines, just all over the place. But the same non-taxed money, like all these perks in the United States, it's not going to apply the same way in other countries. You'll have to check with agencies in those countries, specifically with those countries, how to get a work visa, all of that. I'm not super versed in that, but I know that there are nurses who do it and they love it and it's possible.
Question from Lisa. Can we take a drink break?
I know, I'm like, dry mouth.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We talk so fast. Even sometimes me, I'm like, I need to slow down. Like, we're in no rush here. You guys submit your questions about travel nursing. We'll answer them here. We do have a few other questions that we'll answer, but if you have anything you want to know, that's why I got Angelina here. And by the way, she's so much fun to travel with. When I went with you to New Orleans for the OR conference, it was so fun.
We had a lot of fun. I love that place.
So much fun.
Anyone from New Orleans, because we met the nicest people, the nicest people there.
It was so fun. Okay. Lisa, can you continually take new travel assignments and not keep your house back home to be qualified as a travel nurse?
Yeah, you can. You just it gets a little tricky. You might not be eligible for your non-taxed money. So you'll get just the higher pay.
You have to have
but since you're not duplicating expenses, you're not going to be qualified for the housing stipend, things like that. But, travel nurses who don't keep their homes, a lot of them have RVs and they just want to be free spirits, travel around the country, not be tied down. A lot of actually retired people, not retired, older people travel at 51, 56 is the common age for travel nursing. Their kids are grown, they're out of the house, they get an RV, they just go traveling. They're not going to get a non-tax stipend unless maybe they have they keep their house and they rent it out as a vacation property or something like that. But yeah, you can totally do that. A good website for tax questions, because I'm not a tax professional, is traveltax.com.
You dress like one today, like a tax professional. Fun fact, I actually lived in an RV before nursing school and I traveled for the year.
You did
so
not.
Much fun. Yeah, everywhere.
That is so
From
cool.
Florida to
you have traveled
Washington
a
State.
lot, just not out of the country.
Yeah, just not out of the country. But yeah, that was the coolest experience of my life. That was so much fun. So
actually, were you with friends or
with Brett?
Really?
Yeah, with Nala. Yeah.
I love that.
It was so much fun. We loved it. I want to do it again. It was so great. Okay, Adam, question. Do you have to sign up for contracts for a certain length of time? And I'm going to add on to that. Can you extend a contract?
Yeah, so you do have to commit to a certain amount of time. So typical travel contracts are 13 weeks, which is about 3 months. You can find travel assignments for 6 to 8 weeks on the lower end. If you're working a strike contract, those can be super short term, like a week, 4 weeks.
But I hear there's a lot of money in
so contracts. Strikes, it depends on if you want to cross the picket line and all that stuff. But
that would be
some
too
people
stressful.
Don't like to do that. But if you are okay with doing that, then strike contracts are the highest paying. Also, rapid response assignments pay really well too. I have a great article about this on nurse.org. But rapid response is when they need nurses like quick. Maybe there's a natural disaster like Hurricane Harvey. Mm-hmm. We wrote an article about this, and there was an agency who sent I think it was 1,000 nurses there within 48 hours.
Wow.
To Hurricane Harvey to cover the disaster area. And they pay extremely good money.
Good money.
Someone
mentioned, you mentioned $50 an hour. Is that the usual hourly pay rate? Or was that was just an example?
That's just an example.
It fluctuates.
Yeah.
It fluctuates on where you're going.
Yeah. It also depends on your specialty, your location, the shift that you work. And it also depends on your specific tax situation, whether you have a tax home, if you're eligible for tax-free money, things like that. So typically travel nurses make on the lower end, $1,300 a week. On the higher end, they can make over $3,000 a week.
You know what I like?
What?
Money. And when you mention money, I'm like, yes, no. It is definitely a perk of the job. I know people, especially some travel nurses, are able to work 13-week assignment, and then they take off for a month or 2 months and travel wherever they want to go, and they come back to another travel assignment. And it's I
know a lot of nurses that do that, and I think it's cool because it's freedom. They don't have to ask their manager for time off. They can be like, look, I finished this assignment. I'm out of here for 2 or 3 months. I'll come back.
You're
and
out
then
of
work
all the
again.
Politics too.
Yes.
You're out of all the hospital
totally
politics.
Out of the politics.
Great questions. If someone's interested in being a travel nurse, who should they contact about finding the right agency? Should they just contact you?
Yeah, you can email me. We actually have some new resources that we're working on at nurse.org that are going to be super helpful, especially for this question.
Cool.
They're still in the works, but you can email me, angelina@nurse.org, and I am happy to connect you with the resources. I definitely am a strong believer that the relationship with the recruiter is
look
key.
at this. There's your email, Angelina.
So send me an email if you want to get started in travel nursing. I have good resources at nurse.org. I also specifically know great recruiters. But the relationship between the nurse and the recruiter is key. Oftentimes your recruiter is that continuous solid person in your life, and they'll have your back at the hospital. Honestly, travel nursing is it's a tough career. Sometimes staff nurses are not always happy with travel nurses, and lots of politics there. So having someone to talk to, like a recruiter, and then also recruiters that will work hard to get you the best paying contracts, worked hard to find you assignments in locations that you really want. So it's all about the relationship with the recruiter.
So we're going to do I love doing this. We're going to do this or that. Okay. So here we go. We're going to play a game. You guys all play along. If you were a travel nurse, do you choose East Coast or the West Coast? Drop them in the comments below. We'll give you some time, and then we'll tell you what we prefer.
Okay.
All right, let's see. I want to know East Coast or West Coast. Where would you go?
I'm a West Coast girl.
I've lived on the East Coast my whole life, so I just came out to the West Coast, so I would probably have to say West Coast. Just because of that.
Is Hawaii, though, West Coast? I want to go to Hawaii. I would go to Hawaii.
I don't know.
I know. I would say it's West Coast. I mean, it's in the West.
Hey, Melanie. How's it going? I used to work with Melanie in Greenville. Good to see you. Tell everyone I said hello. Let's see what you guys are. I think it's a mix. Angela says east. Neri says west. Tommy says west. This is one of my favorite games. Adam, cool. East Coast. Sherry, West Coast. So it's a mix. All right, next one. No. Beach or mountains? I already know. She's all beach. She is all beach.
Yeah. I love the ocean.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So beach or mountains? Like I said, growing up in Orlando, I would go to the beach all the time. So I would definitely have to say mountains. I love the mountains.
So funny.
Yeah.
And I'm so from Seattle, the mountains, and I am obsessed with the beach.
Mountains for sure. Monica, Hannah, beach any day. Sherry, beach baby.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think my first AIM account with AOL was like Beach Boy. Beach Boy. I think that's what mine was. But now I love the mountains. What was yours? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was I am an angel.
I'm
like I and the letter M and the letter N.
Oh
angel.
My gosh. And I think I had another one like surfer dude.
No.
It's like surfer.
Why are you all red?
It was like super because I've never talked about this. I've never talked about this. So Beach Boy and surfer.
What was your
dude.
guys' first?
Yeah, I want to know your first. That'll be the AIM screen name. Oh, how do you spell it? Screen name?
Yeah, I guess.
AIM. I don't know. What was your first AIM? I missed that.
I never called it. I'm a lot older than you though, so I don't think I had AIM.
Really?
I'm thinking of like MySpace or something.
Really? I had
AOL account.
And the door would open and close.
No, that's right.
The chat.
Yeah.
Chat. So fun. Okay. Anyways, next, this or that. Do you want to work in the city or the country? Which would you prefer? That was so ridiculous. I can't believe we talked about all this stuff. A lot of people chose the beach. Beach definitely.
Why wouldn't you choose the beach? I would never want to be
beach one.
Away from the beach.
Beach babe. Hers is beach babe. Oh, ocean babe.
Ocean babe.
I believe I was surfer dude. Oh my God. I wasn't even a good surfer. Like I could maybe stand up. I could stand up, just have time to fall down. Like that. Like that's essentially it. Jocelyn, city. Grace, country. Sherry, city. I would choose the city.
Really? I would choose the country.
Okay. I would choose the city.
Okay.
I live downtown Seattle and I love walking around everywhere. And it's kind of best of both worlds because I'm in the city, but we have mountains here, you know?
Yeah, Seattle's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just grew up in like a small town, so I like the country.
Definitely country, Darius. We're going to say, have you noticed what pays higher, city or urban?
Oh, what? City
for
or urban?
Travel nurses, not city or rural.
Definitely city.
Okay.
So a good thing about working in like rural hospitals is that if you want to get some good experience, like transition specialties, that's cool, but you're not going to make a lot of money unless it's like a crisis contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. I wish we had more questions I could ask. I love this game because I love seeing what you guys respond with. A lot of city, Ariana city, Jocelyn city. I think city takes a cake. So it was East Coast, West Coast split. Beach one, and then city. Hey Narissa, what's up, my friends at Greenville Health System?
Cool.
Yeah, I miss them. They were a lot of fun to work with. It's good to hear from you guys. Cool. Any other questions we need to cover with travel nursing? Any questions about travel nursing? We'll be on for a few more minutes, so submit your questions.
Yeah, so I was a travel nurse recruiter for 7 years and a recruitment manager. So I am here to answer all your questions about travel nursing.
Yeah, for sure.
Any questions that you have?
Can people travel with their families? Did you see that? Some people think traveling is only for single people.
Oh,
but one of my good friends lives in an RV with her husband. They have a kid and they have 2 dogs, and they do that full time and they love it.
Yeah. So when it comes to your family, that's totally like your family's preference. If you're okay with that with your family, I do know nurses who've done that. I know a lot of travel nurses who travel with their significant other. And the interesting thing is that either the travel nurse makes enough money to support both of them, or the spouse will get like quick temporary jobs like an Uber driver or, something quick and fun like that, a server, things like that, to bring in some extra income and to also like meet people, because again, it can get lonely. But yeah, people definitely travel with their significant other, and it's a lot of fun.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. Is anyone a travel nurse out there? I don't think I've seen anyone who said I'm a travel nurse. Sherry, license. Good questions, Sherry. Do you have to obtain your own license, or will the agency help you do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so typically some agencies do help pay for the license. Some will pay for it and then they'll have you reimburse them for it. A lot of agencies in California, though, they will pay for it flat out because there is a demand for travel nurses in California, and also the licensure process is long. So you can actually get a California license a lot faster if you fly into California, do your fingerprinting, fill out the paperwork, and do everything in California, as opposed to doing it
paperwork,
everything away.
Who wouldn't want an excuse to go to California anyway?
Yeah, so agencies will actually like fly you in, escort you to get it done, like pay for it all there, and you can get it in like 3 to 8 weeks as opposed to 6 months.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And if you're interested in that, come to LA on Saturday, because we'll be there, and come to the NurseLink conference with us.
Yeah, come see us.
TheNurseLink.com to get tickets. That's this Saturday, April 14th. Ariana, question. What did you do with your dog in the RV when you worked 12 hours? So when I lived in the RV, I was, this was before nursing school. So it was right before nursing school. So I wasn't working as a nurse yet. So that was nice.
What would you do? I never thought about that.
I don't know. I think if it's just you and your dog, I would get a dog walker. There's like great services out there and apps where like I use Rover at home that comes when I work long shifts. They'll come out and walk my dog in the afternoon. So yeah. Or if you travel with your spouse, maybe your spouse can walk the dog for you. Yeah.
I have another question about
hospital. Jocelyn, can you pick your hospital?
If the hospital you want to go to has needs for travel nurses, you can. So when I was a recruiter, travel nurses would call me up, and one of the first things I would ask them is like, do you have a specific hospital in mind? So then I can target that hospital and find assignments at that hospital. Another question that I would ask them is, do you want to be close to the city, or away from the city? Do you want to work in a teaching hospital, level 1 trauma center, community hospital? Kind of get a feel for their vibe and what they want to do. But yeah, you can say like, yeah, I want to work at blah, blah, blah hospital, and I could see if they have assignments there, or you might need to wait a little bit until an assignment opens up. So kind of depends on the facility.
Another question. Thanks for your question. Please give suggestions for nurses during their phone interviews. I have just completed quite a few interviews for one of my open travel positions. So phone screenings, you were a phone screener, right? You would do interviews?
Mm-hmm, yeah. So a phone screen is typically done by the recruiter. For travel assignments, you do phone screens with the manager. And when you're interviewing for a travel nursing assignment, it's a little bit different than when you're interviewing for a staffing assignment, because they're really they want to get a gauge for your experience. Like they're deciding like, can this person come in here and do the job? Do they have experience? Are they giving me real life examples of when they've actually done this? So don't just give like generic answers. Give them stories, tell real life examples.
What machines you're working with, what exact skills you have. Specific. They want to know specific. Not just I worked on a med surg floor. No, we did, any of those skills that you do on that floor, you need to list out for them, really.
Yeah. The specific amount of beds on the units that you've worked in.
The ratio.
In the past. Yeah.
How many patients were you caring for on your unit? Yeah.
Yeah. So they really want to know specific information when it comes to travel assignments. And I actually have an interview prep book that I wrote on interviewing. Good. And
I'll put the link in the description because it's amazing.
Okay. If not, it's nurse.org. You can just Google nurse.org interview prep guide.
It's amazing. So for interviews are important. And don't just be like, hi, I'm Blake. I just want to live by a beach and get paid good money and get free housing. No. Will that work?
Yeah, they're like, what? Who are you and what do you?
It's so funny. So I think the key point in the interview is to give specific examples.
Yeah, travel nurse assignments can be really competitive. So when I was a recruiter, there might be one assignment, there might be 20 nurses competing for that same assignment. And sometimes what managers do is they pick up the phone, they just start calling down the list. Mm-hmm. So if you are in place for a travel assignment, you've been submitted, don't ignore any calls. Don't have your phone off. Have that ringer up and ready to answer that phone, because if you don't answer that phone, they're moving on to the next nurse, and that nurse will answer their phone, and they could just offer that nurse the position on the spot.
Is it pretty quick turnaround?
Yeah.
For the interview to.
Yeah. So they usually do the interview. They usually let your agency know pretty quick, like within 24 hours if they want you, because like I said, this is a staffing shortage. They're struggling. Their nurses are struggling. They need your help. So they're trying to get you in there pretty quickly. Another thing on that note is that travel assignments are like starting within usually a month to 3 months.
Oh, it's pretty quick.
It's quick.
Okay.
They need you to start pretty fast.
We've been sitting here for like 30 minutes and I am probably getting a pressure ulcer. I need to shift my weight. Shift your weight. So we don't get pressure ulcers.
I do have one.
Oh! Shift your weight. We've been sitting here forever. But I love answering your questions. This is such an interesting topic because people are always like, so it's like when you say travel nursing, it's like, oh, what is travel nursing? Like it sounds so fun and cool and daring and bold. I don't know. So people are always interested in it.
It's pretty mysterious too. Like,
hey, Sophie, what's up? Okay. Darius, how do I get into travel nursing if I've only been out of nursing school for about a year? Good question.
That totally depends on your experience. So if you've been out of nursing school and you've been working at a nursing home, for example, it's going to be pretty tough for you to find a travel nursing assignment. If you've been out for a year and you've been working on a med-surg unit, at a hospital, then yeah, you can probably start travel nursing.
So when you're in a regular nursing orientation, no matter what experience you have, when you start a new job as a nurse, your orientation is going to be a few weeks. But in travel nursing, it's 1 to maybe 3 days at the max. That is it. So you have to be comfortable in that position, getting very limited orientation for the safety of your license and for the safety of the patients and the families that you're caring for. So it's not about, I think if we just say you need 1 year or 2 years, like that's not just a fine line for anybody. It's got to be whatever you're okay with and comfortable with.
Exactly. Yeah. You could get like 1 day computer training, Epic, whatever. They're showing you the system, 1 or 2 days on the unit, and then boom, you're thrown to the sharks. Like you're in there.
Yeah. And they expect, even as staff nurses on the unit, that you're like, oh, they're a travel nurse. Like they got it. Sure, they could ask questions, but I assume travel nurses, they have all this experience, right? They're pretty smart. Yeah. Though we try at our hospital, we give the travel nurses some easier assignments. But that's also another conversation to have too, is because some travel nurses, there's travel nurses and staff nurses, and it should never, ever, ever be staff nurses versus travel nurses. Yeah. We're nursing. We are all one family. We're caring for the same patients. We have the same goals. And we have to be nice to our travel nurses. They're there. They're getting limited orientation to help us and relieve some of our work. So we have to be nice. We have to help out because it's about the patient in the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone's working towards the same goal. Yeah. It's not a this versus them.
Nadia said, this is so great to hear. It's been my goal to become a travel nurse in Hawaii. Speaking of dancing, my music video is going to drop this week. I'm so excited about it.
Cardio B.
With Nurse Becky. I'm so excited. So thank you, Nadia. I'm glad. Thanks for the comment because I'm really glad this conversation helped you.
Yeah.
Maureen, can we choose in which hospitals departments we want to work? Yeah, it'll be based on your specialty.
Yeah.
So if you're a neuro ICU nurse, they'll place you in the neuro ICU.
Yeah, you might have to float. So travel nurses are usually the first to float. So you won't be thrown to a unit that you have no experience in. But if you have worked med-surg telemetry, you're going to float, there. If you have ICU, but you also have telemetry experience too, you might float to the tele unit. There's also,
you got to be confident and
there's also float pools specifically for travel nurses where
they go all over the place.
Yeah, or you can float to different hospitals.
That's a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped. I will put this up one more time. This is Angelina's email address. If you have any questions about travel nursing or about an agency, she will help connect you and get you started in the right process.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So email Angelina. And then again, I'm Nurse Blake. Thank you guys so much for watching. Just to review, we are going to be in LA at the NurseLink conference this Saturday, April 14th. If you're in LA and California during that time, come and check us out. I will be live here on Facebook tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific time, talking about pediatric oncology with a nurse. So that'll be really interesting.
Oh, nice.
And then the Boston Red Sox game.
Oh, yeah.
We have our 10 finalists. These are nurse heroes. They are going to be recognized during the pregame ceremony at Nurse Night at Fenway Park at the Boston Red Sox game on May 15th. And you guys will be able to vote on who gets to throw the very first pitch. So those nominations and voting will open at the end of the week. So stay tuned for that too.
Yeah.
So make sure you like the nurse.org Facebook page because that is where it will be coming out. You could also join us at the Boston Red Sox game on May 15th, nurse.org/Red Sox. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
And Nurse Abnormalities, Danielle will be there, who's awesome. I've been friends with her online for a long time, so this will be my first time meeting her. So I'm so excited.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes.
Also, if you're in Seattle, the coffee meetup.
If you're in Seattle, we're doing a coffee meetup, free coffee. I can't have any because I've quit coffee for the rest of the year. But it's Monday, April 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. at Third Culture Coffee in Bellevue. It is free. It's before all those night shift workers or for those workers getting off day shift. Come meet us in Bellevue. There'll be more information on that soon.
Yeah, we'll be posting. There's actually an event posted on nurse.org right now, so you can go ahead and join
that Facebook event. You can check it out through my page too.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to dance it away because it's Tuesday. Have a good week. Bye, guys. I'm Nurse Blake.
Bye.
Catch you later. And you're welcome. I'm glad this video helped. Bye, guys.